is right around the corner. The heat dome has arrived. I just got a summer cold. And I'll tell you, it's so annoying. Winter colds, they really kind of devastate you, especially when you get a little older. You know, they knock you out. They really do. Summer colds, this thing started a couple of days ago with a little scratchy throat. And now I'm like, my nose won't stop running. I don't feel horrendous like you do with a winter cold, but it's just annoying as heck. Maybe this heat will just sweat it out of me. I don't know. We shall see. Not so much joy for the United States World Cup team last night. It started out incredible. It started out 3 minutes in with a USA goal. Now, keep in mind, most of the great players did not play in this game. For instance, Valerian Balogun didn't play. Chris Richards didn't play. Tyler Adams didn't play. Tyler Freeman didn't play. Yellow cards. You didn't want to take a chance. A lot of the better players, because it was already clinched your knockout round position. And so it didn't make any sense for Coach Pochettino to play these guys. A lot of people didn't think the true big name on this team, Pulisic, would play, but he hadn't played in a while. I thought it was smart to play him some. He played about 25 minutes. Unfortunately, he was one of the guys that got nutmegged at the end when the USA team, after almost scoring the third goal on the other end, gave it up with literally no time left in extra time. And Turkey scored. When did it become Turkey, by the way?
Turkey A. I think maybe a year or so
A.
ago, they are literally trying to separate themselves from the meat turkey, the poultry turkey.
That's why they've
Turkey
changed
A.
the name. Seriously? That, by the way, Darian Newsom, who is going to be a familiar voice on this program here in the next few weeks. So thank you for that fact. I never knew that. That is absolutely incredible. We're going to talk a lot about this literally in a couple of minutes with the former Memphis soccer rocker, part of the 1976 U.S. soccer team, Matt O'Sullivan. He'll join us here in just a minute. The Tigers have added Evansville to the docket on their schedule. They're going to play on November 22nd. Here's what the Tigers we know have at home: Evansville now, Louisville, Utah State, VCU. We know Iowa State in Sioux Falls. We know Texas and Baylor and Vandy on the road. We know Dayton in Chicago. We know 2 games in the Bahamas. I think it's going to be Wake Forest and Mississippi State. There's 11 of the 14 non-conference games left. One of them could be this thing with St. Jude. So that could be a Power 4 team. That would be 12 and then probably 2 bye games. So what a schedule. I just can't wait. Sad news today before we head to Atlanta and talk to our soccer rocker, Matt O'Sullivan. Good friend of mine, longtime sports information director. This is for those of you who are old timers. Louisville had an SID named Kenny Klein. Kenny was kind of like the Bob Wynn of Louisville. Bob Wynn, the longest-running tenured sports information director in the history of the school at the University of Memphis. And Kenny was one of those guys like Bob. He was just totally dedicated to the school. He had wound down. He was helping Rick Pitino at St. John's a little bit. I think he had stepped away from his duties at Louisville, but he was involved in the Baha Mar tournament that Memphis was in the Bahamas. You know, there's 2. Atlantis, which is where the Tigers are going to be this year, and Baha Mar, which was where they were last year. Different sides of the islands. Baha Mar, more the Chinese resort. But Kenny had been involved in that, and apparently, you hate to say this, but Kenny went to a restaurant and literally choked on a shrimp, and they tried the Heimlich, and they couldn't get it out. And unfortunately, at the age of 66, in an awful way, Kenny Klein has passed away. Our condolences, our thoughts, our prayers with his family, his wife, who I chatted with a lot in the Bahamas last year. I just can't imagine the sorrow that is going on in the Klein family. One of the great guys, honestly, in the world of sports information, Kenny Klein, has passed away at the age of 66. Let's head down to Atlanta, Georgia. The guy that we used to know as the soccer rocker, the guy that was deemed, I can't remember the program, kind of like Entertainment Tonight, but it was locally in the Memphis area. A lot of different local things, like the syndicated program. Anyway, whatever it was, he was known as the best legs in all of the MISL. Meadow?
Those were the days, my friend.
I know. What was the name of that program? It aired on Channel 13 when it was an ABC station.
Lynn Sittler.
Yeah. And Sarah Quinn.
Sarah Quinn, and God, what was the name of the show? I can't remember. I'm going to have to look way deep in the boxes for that one.
What was Joe's name that was on that? Joe,
yeah.
It was popular. It was really popular.
It was big time, buddy. Yeah. It was big time.
So, you know these national teams. You've watched them for years. You were part of the 76 team. When the U.S. beat Australia and they beat Paraguay to begin, there was discussion. I heard yesterday on several different outlets that if the USA did not make the Sweet 16, this would be a major disappointment. They strike early last night. It's 1-0, 3 minutes in, and then it became a game, and it was disaster at the end.
Okay, time out.
Yes.
Last practice match. Forget about it.
Okay, I know it meant nothing. You were already in.
Nothing. No. It meant absolutely. If it meant something, then it would have been a totally different lineup.
So you don't think they lose momentum with that? Really?
Absolutely not. No, actually, the great thing that happened last night. Great things happened last night. Okay. The goalie Matt Freese did not play intentionally because if somebody has a nightmare, all of a sudden, then you go to the next game and he's having a nightmare. So you know what? He got a rest. Get ready, no problem. Most of the starters, there were only 2 starters from the game before.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep.
That's it. The other, he brought 4 guys on late for 15 minutes, 20 minutes to run around a little bit. Pulisic got a 33-minute run around a little bit. Sweat a little bit. Remember how the game goes. Guess what? There's no focus on last night. So we need to forget about last night and say, okay, who do we play next, guys? Bosnia. This is what now we know that. That's the next game. That's the only thing that matters now. If and when we win that game, we go to the next game. We're going to play Korea or I forget who the other slotted in was. But I mean, it's that game we don't even worry about yet because now it's like the infamous March Madness. Okay,
yeah.
You win, you go to the next game, and you're correct. We should get to the 16. But remember, when we get to the 16, it could be Portugal or Spain.
Right.
Because they're on our side. So we're not going to worry about that. We're going to go to the next game. Everybody's had a nice rest. Anybody that they got hit a little bit, with kicks or whatever, they're all healed. Everybody's fit. We're ready to go. Bosnia had to win their last game, so they played a hard game. We didn't. We've just been focusing on the July 1st game for the last week. This other game, the other great thing that happens is guys that otherwise would never have played got a chance to play in a World Cup game. And they got a little experience. And Pooch can look now and say, oh, you know what? Boy, he did really good. Or, you know what? I'm not sure. That guy didn't do really good. Burkhalter came through, played well. He's a guy you can stick in there if you need to stick him in there. So that's what Pooch got out of last night. So winning or losing, you know what? If they don't score in the last seconds, do we say last night was success because we tied? It doesn't matter.
Well, it to me, it draws a whole lot better than the loss. And I hate to say this because I was kind of for Pulisic playing. I know you and I had discussed this. You were not for him playing. I love it that he only came in the 56th minute, I think it was.
Yeah.
So he got about 30 minutes because of the extra time. and he looked decent offensively, but you know what?
Absolutely.
He was one of the guys that was the double team on the goal at the end where he got nutmegged.
Oh, yeah. Even the best get megged, Voloshin.
Yeah. Well, he did get nutmegged, and I don't know if that's a wake-up call for him on the defensive side, or maybe he needed to get up there and get some physical fitness playing in a game.
And sweat a little bit and just get in the flow of the game. But the other good thing was it was a 97th plus minute, and he was back there defending.
Yes,
wasn't he?
Yeah.
He was doing his job. He was all the way back. He was a forward. He was back there in the box. Okay, don't get magged or whatever. But again, we have to forget about last night. All we need to do now is look forward. July 1st, Bosnia. That's all that counts. And we got everybody. Everybody's healthy. Everybody got some rest last night. Breen got to have a nice big long rest. He's 38 years old, but he's playing great. And now he'll have lots of energy.
So tell me a little bit about Pochettino. You like this guy? He's done a heck of a job. Most people are saying he's such a good coach that when this is done, he's going to go somewhere in Europe and be a head coach. So this is like a one-time deal. You agree with that? And what do you think of what he's done?
Yeah, he's going to go get a high-level job at a club, and that's fine. There's a big difference between coaching club and coaching national teams. You don't have the players all the time like you do at a club. It's a lot easier to mold teams at a club. You've got them for preseason. You get them for weeks at a time. Here you get these guys for days at a time. So I think he's going to do this. He's going to experience it. He'll go back to club, and he may do club for another 10 years or whatever he wants, and then maybe he'll go back to national teams again. I don't think he'll stay and do the U.S. I just don't. But he's done a great job. He's expanded the roster. He's worked hard to find kids like Freeman. A 21-year-old that wasn't even on the radar, all of a sudden he's friggin' a starter. How good is this?
Yeah.
Where did this guy come from? Wow.
How about Folarin Balogun?
Yes, another one, that he got to come across. Remember, he had 3 choices, 3 countries he could have gone to.
Right.
And he decided the U.S. was the one, and he's scoring goals for his club, and guess what? He's scoring them for the United States as well. We are in good shape. We're in good position to move into this next game.
Who are the you mentioned Tyler Freeman. You've mentioned
Freeman,
Balogun.
Tyler Adams.
Tyler Adams is another
Chris
one.
Richards. Tyler Adams and Chris Richards are the two. They are the pillars of that team. Okay, Chris Richards in the back, and Tyler Adams is the defensive midfielder that holds all the thing together.
Is this the best USA team?
Absolutely.
We've had?
Yes, absolutely. And you know what? It'll be even better 4 years from now.
You think so? Who do you think will be the coach 4 years from now? Will they go back to a domestic coach?
That's gonna, they'll do a big broad search like they did to find Pooch, and who knows who'll be coach. The last 5 World Cups, it's like only one coach doesn't get fired. Remember,
right?
Which coach? Just the winner.
Just the winner. Everybody else goes
fired. So this time, 45 guys are going to get fired, except for March, who's up in Canada. He already got an extension, so he's okay. So 2 guys keep their jobs, maybe.
So this being the best American team, will they all stay together? Because they are young. I mean, you mentioned Balogun, Richards, Adams, Freeman, even Pulisic should play in the next World Cup.
Absolutely. That is certainly possible. Ream obviously won't, but most of the rest of the roster is pretty damn young. They can another 4 years and they'll still be doing it. So, injuries aside, like always.
So Bosnia. Everybody thinks that the Americans are overwhelming favorites in that particular match, but it's one match. Anything can happen. It's knockout.
You know what? This is this isn't a 16 versus a 2. Or a 1.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Let's just say maybe it's a 10 versus a 6.
Okay.
The seeds aren't that. Bosnia is a good. Again, it's 90 minutes, guys. Anything can happen. Like last night, a kid gets his first World Cup goal. He's standing at the back pole. It falls at his feet, and he sticks it home. Thank you very much. 2 minutes into his World Cup career.
I know.
And so we've been fortunate. All 3 games we scored first. That's huge.
Well,
It can change tactics.
yeah. Well, the most impressive thing to me too is the fact that this team has so much depth. You said only 2 guys that started against Australia and Paraguay started last night.
There you go. It's happening, baby. It's good, and he got those guys some World Cup time, and they'll go back to their clubs, and next term around another 4 years. People are there'll be some more young kids that pop up out of no place too.
Right.
So,
sounds good to me. I know we will be chatting with you probably the same time slot next week if you're available.
I'll check with my agents, sir, as always.
I know your price is so high, but
I know.
You are so worth it.
It's good talking with you guys. I've got more soccer to watch today. It's great. There's going to be some more good games. We've got another 2 days of knockouts. The third game in the groups, and it's going to be. We got to then focus on Bosnia, and then focus on the next game, and then maybe in the 16 we could be playing Spain or Portugal.
By the way, we should point out, even though the FIFA prices have been outrageous and people were critical of that, this has been the most attended World Cup thus far. We haven't even gotten to the knockout round. The most attended World Cup ever.
Ever. And nobody will ever beat it because nobody's got stadiums like we do.
Right.
So,
yeah. Now, were you able to go to any of these games?
I've been to 3 games, and there was 67, and 68,000 in the Atlanta Stadium, formerly known as Mercedes-Benz.
Wow. It's no longer Mercedes-Benz?
Oh, FIFA wouldn't let them. They had to read.
Oh, yeah. FIFA controls everything. They're making so much money off this. It's incredible.
Yeah. Oh, God. It's terrible.
You think in the future they'll use multiple countries like they are here with Mexico, Canada, and the U.S.?
Oh, yeah. They're going to continue doing that. It's a good way to spread I won't say spread the wealth, but it spreads the World Cup into more countries. It's just like they've got 48 teams now. You watch, it's going to be March Madness. Not maybe 2 more. They're going to go to 64 teams.
Oh, I can't wait. I love this. I've watched a whole bunch of it. I love it. I really do.
All right, Bob.
And I hope you're spot on with that loss last night not killing any momentum.
No way.
I hope you are.
I hope so, too. I'll let you know next week.
All right, Matthew O'Sullivan, the Soccer Rocker. We appreciate you, my friend. Thank you.
Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye. Sitting in the Family Leisure Studio, a reminder, you got to get there because the ultimate pool party probably ends when we turn the calendar to July. Now, there'll be another beautiful sale, but this one's cool because you can get an above-ground pool for under $4,000 and you can get an in-ground pool. They do that now. For under $50,000. This is state-of-the-art. That is a terrific price. All in-stock patio furniture, priced to move like a 5-piece patio furniture set. Starting at under $1,000, you get a free umbrella and a base with select patio furniture purchases. And if you mention us, $200 right off your purchase of a pool or a spa. Just get there to I-40 and Whidden Road. Make sure you say Sports 56 and enjoy the ultimate pool party.
I got something for you. Was that TV show possibly PM Magazine?
PM Magazine. Excellent. Way to go, Darian.
I wanted to chime in before you got mad, but I wasn't sure if that was it. But the entire time you guys talked, I was searching.
Yeah. PM Magazine, and it was really popular. And those Lynn Sittler and Joe and Sarah Quinn involved, they were stars.
And it says a Byron Day as well.
Byron Day started with that. Joe replaced him. Byron Day went to NBC and was actually one of the NBC stars. Didn't last long. He and Bob Costas came up together. Bob Costas lasted a long time. Byron Day, I think, is doing in Mobile 6 and 10 News at this time. Byron Day's been around a long time. Great guy, Byron Day. We got to take a break. As always, we are behind. We're going to Chicago momentarily. Our good friend, our agent from Priority Sports, that's Andy Schiffman. He comes your way in a minute.
Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Available locally on your radio dial as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, it's easy to stay tuned to Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Guns, guns, and more guns. Over 700 firearms in stock. Home defense guns, old guns, new guns, used guns, big guns, little guns. Every gun you can think of, Classic Arms has them. All brands like Glock, Sig, Colt, Ruger, Smith & Wesson, Browning, Beretta, Benelli, Remington, Winchester, and more. Guaranteed lowest prices in town. Only gun importer in the Mid-South. Free gun inspections and appraisals and free bore sighting for the upcoming deer season. Shop online at ClassicArmsOfMemphis.com or visit Classic Arms at 1740 Germantown Parkway behind Corky's Barbecue in Cordova.
Is your wife asking you to stop eating junk food? Well, we have you covered at Humdinger's. It's quick and it's healthy, and most important, it tastes amazing. With many choices from salmon salad to rainbow trout and grilled asparagus. Come visit us for lunch at Humdinger's, 6300 Poplar Avenue. So good, Coach Penny eats with us weekly. Don't forget, Humdinger's offers full-service catering for weddings, social events, or your corporate lunches. You can call 901-260-8292 to find out more.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. Do you know what Penny Hardaway and I have in common? We should both be in that building celebrating the best basketball players of all time. Of course, I'll have to buy a ticket to get in, but he should already be there. But seriously, we both surround ourselves with the best people we can find. We work hard to achieve our goals, and we are both among the best in our respective fields. At Fiveash, we can't win titles or get national awards, but what we can and do strive to do is give 100% of ourselves to give you the best product possible and one you can be proud of. So if you need a roof, siding, or gutters, give us a call at 901-367-0050, and we will do everything we can to provide you the best of everything. Fiveash Roofing. Fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
At Gossett Volkswagen on the Pike, it's the Volkswagen Driver Days event, and it's drivers wanted. If you're looking for sporty, we Gossett 2026 Jetta S. Just $249 a month, $249 a month for Jetta S. Luxury just got a new definition in 2026 Tiguan 2.0 TS. Now $269 a month. Brand new Tiguan S, $269 a month. And right now, Gossett Volkswagen on the Pike's got 2026 Atlas SE, only $329 a month. That's only $329 a month for a brand new Atlas SE. Ready for a new ride? We got you covered at Gossett Volkswagen on the Pike, 1875 Covington Pike, or shop online anytime at GossettVWMemphis.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Atlas TC 564,681, MSRP 41,911, Jetta TMO 312,217, MSRP 25,791, Tiguan TMO 43,763, MSRP 32,881. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must be financed through Volkswagen Credit PF 895. Excludes tax title license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer in 6/30/26 dealer stock only.
Saturday morning at 10 o'clock, come hang out on the back porch. An hour full of the hottest topics and important people around the SEC and only the SEC. The Back Porch, Saturday morning at 10 right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Headed to Chicago, our agent from Priority Sports standing by. He's brought to you by Cadillac. You could say he's the Cadillac of sports agents. I like to think he is, and I'll tell you right now, if you want the best of cars, why do you think they use that moniker, that standard? It's the Cadillac. It's because they're the best. And the best place that I think ever sells any kind of cars, Landers. And they got Landers Cadillac of Memphis. They redid that showroom. They got all the new cars in. They always do. And you know you're always going to get top dollar for any kind of trade-in. It's the best place to get a trade-in. And then you're going to look at all those great cars, and you can save even more. If you go to Landers Easy Pass at CadillacofMemphis.com, you can save even more. It'll show you right there how much you can save. Don't miss out on all these exceptional offers. The best new Cadillac models are always front and center at Landers Cadillac of Memphis. And remember, If it doesn't say Landers, you paid too much. We go to Chicago. Andy Schiffman, our agent from Priority Sports. Do you concur with ESPN and with The Athletic that said the only team in this year's NBA draft with an A-plus grade was the Memphis Grizzlies? Is that a homer remark or is that a national perspective? Good morning.
Morning, Dave. Look, I mean, I'm trying to remove myself with my Memphis roots. I would agree with that. I mean, it's hard to say necessarily the only team because a lot of these teams at the top end of the draft, they got really good players and they filled positional need while doing so. I love what the Thunder did, going out there with a team, given the roster that they have, right? It's very hard in the NBA to go out there and get talent in the draft, especially in the lottery, when you are that good and making it all the way to the Western Conference Finals that they did. And they went out and added a Wemby stopper and a Di Mara, who I love, who is I don't know, I think he'd be maybe a poor-man Zach Edey, but someone with the length to contest Wemby in the Western Conference. Right. That's who he is. And then they went ahead and made that trade with Memphis at 16 to move up a spot to get our guy, Bennett Sturts, one of my players.
He's your guy.
An absolute stud from Iowa.
I got to admit to you, okay, when Sturts' name came up as the Memphis pick, I was at FedEx Forum. There was a gasp. People were not really high on this guy who started at Division II, went to Northern Iowa, and then was at Iowa. But he's your guy, so you must think he's pretty good. I think a lot of people probably didn't know who he was. No, well, the one thing is, it seems to me Memphis already has that player with Cam Spencer. Is that fair?
Different. Cam is probably better off the ball, more of just like a knockdown perimeter shooter. Bennett's more versatile, more of a pure point guard, bigger, right? And just as good of a shooter. So I look at those two as kind of different positions, different players.
Okay.
I think he would have complemented them well, but I think he fits OKC very well. But look, to your point with the Grizzlies, I definitely love what they did. Zach has done it again in terms of acquiring talent in the draft, filling positional needs, while also continuing to accumulate draft picks. And he did that, and he still got great players. And obviously, I think the general fan base in Memphis is aware of Cam Boozer and how good he is. And I think that's a great pick. I think that's a no-brainer of where they're at. Time will tell, but in this moment, it was the right play. Getting Kareem Lopez, he's an absolute versatile young stud from the NBL, from New Zealand. People probably do not know much about his game. He's extremely talented, huge upside. And then an Andy Schiffman client, Richie Saunders, was a steal at 32. Now, for people that don't know much about Richie, he's coming in, starting the season at age 25, which I see as a really positive thing, given how young the Grizzlies are. Just the veteran leadership, even though he is a rookie, but he's coming off an ACL tear. So he's not going to be playing for several months. He's still rehabbing from the ACL. He's on track to return, hopefully by November. But again, when you're coming off an ACL surgical repair, as you're aware, he might be cleared to return to court in November, but probably won't play a game until roughly around February, and that game's probably going to be in the G League starting out.
Well, that's what
which would be the case wherever he wins.
Isn't he really?
So fans shouldn't.
Isn't he really more a two-way guy? Wouldn't you, if you?
He's going to probably start out in that mold just because of the roster crunch the Grizzlies will have, and the fact that he's not necessarily going to be thrown into a game right away. But I'm just telling you, Dave, the guy is so polished and such a competitor. And he's an elite level knockdown shooter. He's an elite level defender. He plays with such a high motor and such just high energy. Keep an eye on him moving forward. He'll play Summer League next summer with the Grizzlies, by all accounts, and be a really, really valuable piece. And look, I think it says something for the Grizzlies to use such a valuable pick at pick 32 on a guy that's not going to step in right away and play. But he is a first round talent, and he would have been a top 20 pick had he not been injured. So I think that's another great pick by the Grizzlies.
I agree. He must be something because I had heard really the Grizzlies wanted to trade out of that pick and that they didn't want to sign more than the two guys and Isaiah Stewart. Now, the thing about Isaiah Stewart to me was brilliant. The guy, they wanted Kareem Lopez the whole time. I've read good and bad about him, to be honest. So I'm mixed. You're painting a good picture. They knew they had identified him. They moved down. They acquire 5 second-round picks, of which 3 they use with one of the teams they traded with, Detroit, to get Isaiah Stewart. Now, Stewart can be a really good player.
They were Detroit's picks, so they traded him back to Detroit.
Yeah. Well, he's a volatile guy, Stewart is. Yeah. What did you think of that maneuver? He's clearly going to be the backup to your guy, Zach Edey.
Mm-hmm. Look, I mean, Isaiah Stewart, I think, fits that blue-collar, just bruiser mold, which the Grizzlies have had in the past. And like you said, he is a bit of a volatile personality, but I think he played his butt off. And I'm always a huge fan of high-motor big men in the NBA. So anytime you can get that, especially without giving up an actual player, I think is a great move by the Grizzlies. So they were in the market for a backup center. They were able to get that without really losing much at all. And they still have a nice young core from the draft. So I think it's a great move. Now, is Isaiah Stewart all of a sudden going to be the savior for the Grizzlies? No. But again, like he's proven, if he stays out of foul trouble and he keeps his head on straight, he can be that bruiser, rebounder type of guy, just banger in the paint. So I like the move. You know, I definitely like it. And look, the Grizzlies still have more than 15 guaranteed contracts, so they're not done dealing. I don't know what that looks like.
Right.
With Ja, obviously, the latest I've heard is there's just no market for him without the Grizzlies having to attach draft assets to him, which is going to be quite difficult. So your guess is as good as mine whether or not they're able to move Ja here in the coming weeks.
Okay, so that was really my next question for you was Ja Morant. I asked Pete Pranica, the TV voice, and he says, I have no inside information. Zach Kleiman is very tight-lipped. I cannot tell you, but my hunch is there's no way that Ja Morant will be back next year. But I keep hearing from everybody else they can't get rid of him. They don't want to take a bath on this thing. Is there a way in your mind that there can be some form of redemption between the Grizzlies and Morant? And if he's the point guard, now you got Ty Jerome, you've got Scottie Pippen Jr., you got Clayton, by the way. I don't know what they do with him. Mm-hmm. You got all these guys that could be backups. I mean, that would be an incredibly deep position. Do you think they could be forced to keep Ja? And what would his attitude be like then?
Well, to that question, Dave, I think it all depends on Ja's personality and his attitude, let's say, his attitude towards return.
Yeah.
I think the Grizzlies know how to handle that. I think they would welcome him with open arms if he had the right attitude and say, look, let's hit the reset button on this. This is your team still. We want to lock in on you. We want to invest in you and this team, but we need you to beat us there. So if he wants to your point, if he really focuses on turning the page and just understanding like he has a huge impact here with him on the court being available and doing the right things, and with the rest of the roster healthy, they could compete for the playoffs and really make some noise in the playoffs, I think, again, if everyone's healthy. But if it's the same old Ja, I don't know how it's going to work. And really, if they're unable to trade him, the only other mechanism is to waive and stretch his salary. You know, he's got about $86 million guaranteed over the next 2 seasons. So that, I think that's very unlikely. Very unlikely. That's a massive amount of guaranteed money for the Grizzlies to take on for the next 7 years if they were to do that. So I don't see that happening. But logistically, that's the only way to really get rid of him at that point, because you're not just going to waive him outright.
If they did, how many teams would go after him? They'd all go, we'll take a chance on that.
They'd all go after him because they can get him on the cheap. You know, at that point, he'll be a free agent. And they'll just say, hey, we'll give you whatever we have. But I don't see that happening. I'm just really more speaking educationally to the listeners and to you to say that's the only other mechanism to get rid of him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, look, I think realistically, the only team that added was Sacramento, dating back to last summer, really last trade deadline.
Yeah, but they took Acuff. They like Acuff.
Exactly. So I just do not know. I mean, look, Charlotte's going to be needing a point guard now after trading LaMelo.
Right.
They have cap room. They have a trade exception.
That's like $40 million, right? It's big.
Yep. And then what does Boston do with Jaylen Brown? I do not know yet. So I think there's still going to be a busy summer around the league here the next week. I mean, the free agency starts June 30th officially, but I can tell you right now, like teams are talking. I think this thing's going to move pretty fast, and rosters are going to be really shaken up here this time next week for sure.
Wow, I can't wait to talk to you next Friday then. Is this Jaylen Brown thing about luxury tax, cap room? Why are the Boston Celtics so interested in moving Jaylen Brown? I don't quite get that.
Yeah, look, I do think it's about their tax situation. And I think their owner has shown now a propensity to really avoid paying tax. That's what you saw last year. Jaylen Brown, in my opinion, I wouldn't be looking to really move him. I think the guy's an MVP candidate. Look at what he did with the Celtics last year with Tatum out, right?
Yeah.
But they are about $10 million right now, Boston is, under the tax. And so they're going to have decisions to make with some of their free agents, right? So I think they just are trying to kind of look towards the future of how do we continue to avoid paying the luxury tax. And it might mean moving Jaylen Brown. I think just as a basketball player and looking at it through that lens, again, I'm a huge Jaylen Brown fan. I just go into the season now with a fully healthy Tatum and Brown. Why can't they duplicate what they've done the last couple of seasons prior to Tatum's injury?
I'm with you.
There's no reason they can't.
I'm with you. I don't get that. You mentioned Boozer, by the way. That was an incredibly accepted and applauded at the FedEx Forum when his name was announced as a Grizz.
Yeah.
And I know they want to build around him, and they think he could be a 10-year star. They want it to be his team. Do you think that's another motivation to get rid of Morant?
I don't know if it's a motivation to get rid of Ja in that regard. I think they're telling Cam that obviously to help him understand the investment they want to make in him in the franchise in general moving forward. So I don't necessarily know if it's motivation to get rid of Ja. I think they are very highly motivated already to get rid of Ja. Just I feel for the front office because it's very, very hard already in a vacuum to move a contract like that, much less attached to a player that there just really isn't a market for. So I think that's a little bit it's separate, or let's say exclusive from the Ja thing.
Okay. Last thing, quickly, we got a couple of minutes. The NCAA has voted in the 5-year eligibility rule. That's you got 5 years. You can play all 5 years. It starts when you first sign, and then you got all 5 years. The limit with age is 24. Is this good? Do you like this? It's going to affect a lot of guys who, thought maybe their career was over and they're going to get an extra year here.
Yeah, look, I generally like it. I know there's going to be a lot of lawsuits, and there already are a few popping up here from players who just graduated, and now all of a sudden we have players in this bucket who can't go back and obtain this extra 5th year of eligibility.
Right.
So it affects them, and it's just a bit of a slippery slope when you go down that path. But I think that's an issue. But look, I mean, this is going to eliminate redshirt years, waivers, players appealing, trying to get an additional year. It's just very black and white, straightforward to your point, 5 and 5. And so I do think in the long run it'll be beneficial, but for sure there will be a number of antitrust lawsuits filed against the NCAA here moving forward from players that are negatively impacted by this, namely those players that just graduated and now can't go back and get this 5th year. But they already had another year of eligibility. They would have been included in that class. So I think in the long run, it's a good thing for sure. And in today's world of NIL and revenue share and money and dollars, right? Like, it's beneficial. It adds another year of earning power for those players
100%,
who already have exhausted 4 years and don't have a market playing professionally. So to that regard, I think it's a win.
As for those lawsuits, you got to start at some point somewhere. I know it's going to be unfair to just one class, but I don't see how they win that in court because you got to start at some point. No
tough
question.
threshold, exactly.
Andy Schiffman, you know what? I don't know if we have a show next Friday. If we don't, I'm going to try to get you on earlier in the week because I want to hear when free agency starts what your thoughts are on all that. Thank you, buddy.
It'll be a busy week for sure. Thanks.
Seems like it's always busy in Andy Schiffman's world. That's for sure. Thank you, pal.
That's very true.
All right. Thank you. That's Andy Schiffman. He's brought to you in part by Miramichi. I'm going to be there tomorrow. I tried to get an earlier tea time. I got to be honest with you, folks. It's become so popular. People know about it now. They realize it's only 25 minutes away. It's not in Millington. It's in Woodstock. 25 minutes from my driveway in East Memphis. They know about the incredible practice facilities, how you can really fine-tune your game there. They know how beautiful it is, and they know how tough and challenging, of course, it can be. Of course, you can move up like me and play the shorter tee boxes. But now, all of a sudden, it's become so popular, you better call earlier in the week to get your tee time, or you're stuck with a late one in the heat. I'll just let you know that. Miramichi. It's the true golf experience, from those practice facilities to the course itself, to the view on the deck between 9 and 18, to the clubhouse with great food and drink and great service. Go check it out. It's really a great place to go. You'll love it. Miramichi. We take the break. When we come back, we're going downtown. Our good friend Jonah Dillon from the Commercial Appeal on a myriad of topics, including the Grizzlies, because he writes on the Memphis Grizzlies. We'll get his take on this draft in just a minute.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
You know that feeling when something is supposed to be complicated and then it's not? That's the Dobbs Brothers way. For your new Chevrolet, there's no games, no runaround, no surprises. Just straight answers from people who actually mean them. Buying a car shouldn't feel like a battle. And at Dobbs Brothers Chevrolet, it doesn't. Trust, transparency, and driving our community forward. That's the Dobbs Brothers way. Shop Dobbs Brothers Chevrolet of Bartlett today.
Chris Price here with Metro Builders. If you were anywhere in the Mid-South lately, you felt it. High winds, hail, and storms rolling through hard. And here's the truth. If your roof took a hit, you may not see it yet. Hail and wind damage shingles can compromise your roof, opening the door for water intrusion. And once it gets in, the damage spreads fast. Ceilings, walls, insulation, even mold. That's why the sooner we inspect, the less damage you risk. Right now, Metro Builders has teams all over Memphis performing free inspections, handling same-day repairs, and providing emergency water mitigation services if needed. We'll show you exactly what we see, document everything, and help you take action before a small problem becomes a big one. Don't wait until you see water inside. Call me. 901-375-1717. That's 901-375-1717, or book your inspection online at metrobuildersmemphis.com. That's Metro Builders Memphis. We don't just build, we build world class.
Marty McNate's on vacation, but passed along some exciting deals at Gossett Volkswagen Germantown's Volkswagen Driver Days event. If you're looking for sporty, we Gossett 2026 Jetta S. Just $249 a month. $249 a month for Jetta S. Luxury just got a new definition in 2026 Tiguan 2.0 TS. Now $269 a month. Brand new Tiguan S $269 a month. Plus 2026 Atlas SE. Only $329 a month. That's only $329 a month for a brand new Atlas SE. Marty McNate will be waiting for you at Gossett Volkswagen Germantown, 7420 Winchester Road. Online, GossettVWG.com. And remember, your future's what you make it.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Atlas TC 564,681, MSRP 41,911, Jetta TMO 312,217, MSRP 25,791, Tiguan TMO 43,763, MSRP 32,881. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must be financed through Volkswagen Credit PF 895. Excludes tax title license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer in 6/30/26 dealer stock only.
Nothing symbolizes your love like a natural diamond, and nothing compares to the real diamonds you'll find at Sissy's Log Cabin. Here, you'll only find brilliant natural diamonds that have been here long before your I do, and that will become more treasured with time, just like your love. Explore our expansive selection and enjoy unmatched quality and service at your nearest Sissy's Log Cabin or at sissyslogcabin.com. Find a real natural diamond worthy of your story only at Sissy's.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
We're headed downtown in a minute on the Sissy's Log Cabin line. We'll talk with Jonah Dillon from the Commercial Appeal. He's brought to you by Sheldon. You want the worst golfer in town to handle the sale of your home? Yes, you absolutely should. Sheldon Rosengarten, Mark Spensdorf. Here's the rumors about the market being so tough, but his listings absolutely sell. The secret is using his highly successful strategic marketing program that can mean the difference in what you make and when you make it. In other words, how quickly you get to the closing table with the best price that you could possibly get. Now, he'll tell you might want to talk to 2 or 3 real estate brokers. Just make sure he's one of them. He can advise you how to prepare your home for the market, what to do and what not to do. Now, he may be called Mr. Three-Putt and Sheldon the Shank because he can never practice because he's always working for you. You just want to use the guy that gets you the best and most timely to that closing table. When you want the job done, you call Sheldon. Call him at 483-0546, or you can email him. A little different now. It's shellrose at memphisrelocate.com. Shellrose at memphisrelocate.com or 483-0546. Jonah Dillon, good morning. I know you were covering the Grizzlies draft the other night. Your thoughts. Everybody's wild about Cam Boozer and about the maneuvering for Isaiah Stewart and Lopez and Saunders. Give me your take on all of it. Good morning.
Yeah, it seems like the perception both within Memphis and really nationally is a really positive one about what Zach Kleiman did during this draft. Obviously, Cam Boozer going to Memphis wasn't shocking. It was kind of clearly the way the board was going to go, even though I think there's some smoke about Jared Peterson and all that stuff. I think all 3 of those guys, really all 4 of the guys at the top of the draft, look like pretty solid prospects to kind of build a team around. And I think the Grizzlies are really, really excited about Cam Boozer because obviously he is someone that you look at his skill set, you look at how young he is, you look at kind of his poise and what he was able to do at Duke, and he looks like the kind of player you want to build your team around. And this is a team that looks like it's kind of starting something new. And so now you kind of look at what they've done over the past couple of years, and it does look like there's a plan. That was the thing that they kind of emphasized, Zach Kleiman and Tomas Isol emphasized, I think, the most at the press conference yesterday, was that there's a plan, and the plan is to get players who are a specific kind of mold. And Cam Boozer fits what they're trying to do in terms of his physicality, his size, and then the way he plays his position.
What is your take on what Zach Kleiman will do with Ja Morant? Pete Pranica yesterday, I asked him point blank because they did not address really the point guard situation. They did with maybe Richie Saunders, but, here's a guy who's not going to play this year, or much this year, because he's coming off ACL surgery. And he's got a high price tag. Pete was certain that he would not be back, but Andy Schiffman, the agent that always precedes you on Fridays, he's saying he's really having a hard time unloading Ja, and you don't want to take a bath. What do you think will end up happening with Morant and the Grizz?
Yeah, I mean, it feels like eventually they'll find, you can reach a point with any of these things if you're trying to trade a player, both for positive value and negative value, where you decide, okay, at this point, I'm just going to take the best offer. I mean, I think you kind of saw that with Giannis, right? They decided this is the deadline, basically, is the draft, and we're going to take an offer at that point. So you can always decide to do that. You can always decide to make a trade. It is interesting when you think about it. Obviously, we know what the context is of Ja Morant and the Grizzlies over the past few months since the beginning of the year. But the fact that we had a press conference yesterday, introductory press conference for the 3 rookies, and with the GM and the coach there, and Ja Morant was not mentioned one time during the press conference is notable, because that's the kind of thing, if you think he's the highest paid player on the team, he's their star player, you would be asking everybody how he's going to fit with the new players and with the new direction of the team. And he wasn't mentioned at all. And so I think that the fact that, they made it clear where they stand in terms of his future. And it's just a matter of, are you going to reach a point where you decide we're just going to take an offer now, or are you willing to let this draw out and get into the next season? Because obviously he didn't play over the back half of most of the back half of the season because of the injury. But you would assume when you get to training camp, he's going to be healthy and he's going to be ready to play. And then you're going to have those conversations then. So they've kind of put this off. Eventually there's going to be a resolution one way or the other, because next season is going to start and he's either going to be on the team or he isn't. Of the 3 rookies that you had a chance to chat with yesterday, which is the guy that just through articulation in the interviewing process impressed you the most? Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I think Cam Boozer, he might be one of the youngest. He might be the youngest player in the NBA next year. He's only 18. He hasn't even turned 19 yet. But and so you think of someone like that, of like, okay, he's young, he's figuring it out. This is someone who's, you can watch those videos of him at press conferences with his dad when he was a little kid. So he's very poised. Like, he's been media trained since he was, 3 or 4 years old. He's built to do this, and not just built to be an NBA player, but to do everything that comes with it and to be like the face of a franchise. I mean, yesterday he said, I was really interesting. He said, I've been the best player in every team I've ever been on. And so he's kind of built his entire journey as a basketball player, knowing that it was supposed to lead to this point, and now it has. And so he's here, and he's kind of acting the way that you would expect that type of a player to act. But it's refreshing, and I guess a little bit unique when you get that from a rookie, right? Because most people have to grow into that role in terms of what they're doing, and he's already there.
Just think, by the new rule, he could play 6 more years, not even 18 yet. Yeah. What about Lopez? Nobody really knew about Lopez, and the maneuvering was pretty interesting, the way Zach Kleiman was able to finagle getting him and getting picks to get Isaiah Stewart. It was impressive.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Lopez, and his body type is really interesting, and his ability, again, talking about someone who's 19, right? And so I think that if you look at the way people talk about him, definitely one of those guys that's going to grow into a role, and maybe not, you're going to expect him to kind of step in the NBA right away and how he plays. But it's worth noting he has been playing professional basketball, right, in the NBL over in New Zealand and Australia. And you've seen guys come from that league and been effective pretty quickly. So he's been playing at a high level so far for what he's doing, and he's been a professional basketball player for a couple of years now. But I do think there's a lot for him to grow into as a player. He's someone who, again, the Grizzlies are looking at the future, right? They're not necessarily looking at the present. And so you could definitely see him in a couple of years becoming an effective rotation player. Isaiah Stewart, obviously, you talk about grit and grind, which it really seems like what Memphis is trying to get back to right now. And you kind of heard signs of that from Zach Kleiman yesterday. I don't know if there's a player in the NBA right now who would more embody that than Isaiah Stewart. And so it makes almost too much sense from that standpoint. And it'll be interesting. Obviously, you don't know. I mean, Zach Edey, if he can stay healthy, Isaiah Stewart will be behind him. But that's also a question going into next season.
I wonder about his head. Honestly, didn't he get suspended 7 games last year for fighting? I mean, the guy is known as the enforcer.
Yeah, he's had multiple suspensions. That obviously goes into his reputation as a player. But he's obviously not somebody who's going to stand back from anyone. Again, though, if that's what your mentality is going to be, and that's what your identity as a team is going to be, and all the signs point to, and the things they've said are saying we want to be the team that relies on toughness. We want to make it hard for people to come in here and play us. Those are the types of players. Now, obviously, sometimes you don't want them to go beyond, but those are the types of things that help you create that kind of an identity.
I haven't heard Zach address this either, but I'm curious, what's the rehab progress of Zach Edey? Will he be ready to play this fall?
Yeah, we talked to Zach Edey right at the end of the season. He said that he was expecting, I forget the exact date, but I think he said somewhere in July or in the summer he thought he'd be back and be clear to do everything. And so the expectation from that standpoint was that he would be able to be full go for training camp next season. Obviously, one of the reasons that he had all those surgeries and that last procedure was kind of to make sure that he would be better equipped to handle the NBA season going forward in the future. And obviously, it's not like they needed him last year with how the season was going. And so I think the expectation now is that, and the hope from him and from the Grizzlies is that they kind of dealt with all this stuff the past couple seasons, and now hopefully he's been clear of it and he's going to be able to stay healthy and be fully healthy going into the season. And obviously the hope would be throughout the whole season.
Talking with Jonah Dillon from the Commercial Appeal, who covers the Grizzlies. He also covers Tiger football. And there's this new NCAA eligibility rule voted in this week. 5 years across the board. You can play till you're 24 if you start at 19. But once you sign, the clock is ticking. You got 5 full years. So you can play 5 years. But if you get injured, there's no more gray shirt, red shirt, the blue shirt, doesn't matter. You lose whatever time you're going to lose from injury. You like the rule, and I'm really curious. I don't know if you've looked into this yet, but will that affect many of the Charles Huff signees? For instance, Stokes, let's say. I think he's a junior. I don't think he's used a redshirt year. Would he literally get 3 years now?
So he did redshirt. He redshirted when he first got to West Florida. So it does affect some people. It's really interesting because a lot of these players, if you look at it from the Memphis perspective, for not just football, but for a lot of different teams, you're looking at people who you thought, even in the transfer, even for basketball, you're bringing guys in who, okay, this is their last year of eligibility, guys like Jaden Reed or Tyler Weeks, who suddenly now have more years.
Yeah, they're
now,
going to get two if they stay.
Yeah, so they would have two. But again, the question is going to be, there's no guarantees that anybody on any team is going to stay at any roster for more than 1 year, right? And so, yes, that gives you a different opportunity. It's different because a lot of these guys were making their decisions transfer portal-wise, thinking this is my last year. I think about somebody like Mike Montgomery on the football team who's going to be a star linebacker for Memphis. Suddenly he has another year. And that's the type of player, right? He was a 4-star recruit at one point, and then he got injured and a lot of his offers went away out of high school. So he goes to play FCS football. So this is someone who hasn't been playing at the highest level he really has only played FBS football for 1 year at Southern Miss last year. And now he has another year and someone who potentially is a power conference caliber player. And so it's going to be interesting to see how those types of players, how it changes the perspectives for a school like Memphis in terms of which recruits you're getting and when you're getting them. Because now suddenly someone who thought he was doing his last year, he has 2 years. If he's as good as we think he's going to be, that's someone who's going to be one of the best defensive players in the conference. Are you going to consistently be able to keep those types of players? The same question, obviously, that we have with a lot of different sports.
Well, in Montgomery, I know he was thinking about going to the NFL. Let's just say, he's a 4th-round guy. He's going to make more money to stay at Memphis or go to an SEC school. That 5th year is going to mean a lot of money for a lot of these guys. No doubt about that. John, as always, we appreciate you. We'll talk to you next week.
Yep, thanks for having me.
That is Jonah Dillon from the Commercial Appeal. He's brought to you by Southern Security. Need cash? You can refinance your auto loan with Southern Security. You won't have a payment for 60 days. 60 days, folks. Southern Security will finance up to 115% of the current value of your vehicle. That's up to 72 months. Find out how you can put more cash in your pocket. You can actually talk to a service team member at 452-7900. That's 901-452-7900. Or you can apply on the website at southernsecurity.org. They got 7 locations. They're not a bank. They're not for profit. They're a credit union, best around for the last 7 years, and they can do things banks can't. Check it out. Southern Security, your home team credit union, federally insured by NCUA. That'll do it for us. Johnny Radio's around the corner. We'll talk to you on Monday. Have a great weekend, everybody.